Hey guys, Anthony here with Force Fable, bringing you another Force Fable update. And this week we have Jordan with us.
Hey there, guys.
Alright, so there's been a particular topic that has been in gaming headlines for at least a couple of years now. We purposely haven't touched on it because it both doesn't and does. That's a proper sentence. It affects us and it doesn't. So that particular topic is DRM, or Digital Rights Management. A lot of you know DRM has been, just a huge, absolute hit, and everybody loved it. That's a lie. One of the biggest games that had big DRM backlash was Diablo 3, and then I know SimCity 4, was it?
Technically 5, just like the latest SimCity game.
Yeah, the latest SimCity had DRM, known as persistent online authentication. And we've seen companies do it. Electronic Arts, Ubisoft, Valve does it with Steam. An upside to DRM is honestly honesty.
Yeah.
That a lot of people, a lot of gamers, that either complain about DRM or they complain about developers and bugs in video games and this, that, and the other thing. A lot of them don't understand that developers have a shitty job. Granted, they're doing what they enjoy and they're doing something that they love, but sometimes it's under some ridiculous conditions. Either by that development studio's higher ups or by the producer pushing, insane time requirements or we want this at this time, so on and so forth. Yeah. Developers are put on some huge constraints, very long hours, and nowhere near the pay that they deserve. It kind of hurts that people in the massive tens of thousands illegally download these games and literally just gyp these developers out of their hard-earned cash. It honestly is trying to keep people honest and allow money in the different avenues that it takes, allowing money to eventually get to the people who gave you, that game.
Now, like that's how it, benefits mostly like the developers and the publishers and that. But then, like, on the other hand, there's also certain upsides for gamers too. Like, for example, if you look at next-gen consoles like Xbox One specifically, like, they had always online as part of their whole plan, and the whole reason for that was to make sure that every single gamer was on the same playing field. Like, they didn't want fragmentation. For example, like, if you look at Android runs on so many different devices that certain games won't work on certain phones and everything like that. Xbox wanted to make sure that, everybody had the same hardware so that developers didn't have to worry about, say, like this generation, they didn't have to worry about certain people not having Connect. So then they could not have to take those differences into consideration at all, and they could implement a lot of new features knowing that every player has the same,
That's an extraordinarily good point.
Along with that, everybody was kind of wary of the whole DRM thing because they thought that if people that didn't have internet, they would have so many difficulties and everything here. And honestly, to be fair to gamers and the criticizers and everything, Microsoft could have done a lot better job, talking about the upsides of that rather than just saying this is what it's gonna be.
If you're gonna have DRM, if the requirement for that gamer to always be online is gonna be there, you need to be able to sell it as a gaming device, not as a social device. Yeah. Just like Diablo 3, just like Blizzard sold it as a multiplayer game instead of the single player game that it used to be. Now they're selling it as the ability for you to click and there's multiplayer games.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest criticisms of the whole DRM thing, specifically with Diablo and SimCity, because they had really similar problems, was just the fact that the servers were either over capacity or they weren't available. And the thing that you just mentioned about like Microsoft taking a hint off that, I mean, in their it was either the reveal event for Xbox One or the E3 event, I can't remember. They said that they increased their server count from like 15,000 to over 300,000. So they were clearly like taking some sort of
trying to.
Yeah, they were trying, but it's still like the fact that Diablo 3 and SimCity had those same problems, I feel like if they didn't, there wouldn't be near as much, bad.
There really wouldn't be. The other issue with games like SimCity and Diablo is that they have such a particular fan base, and that particular fan base, when it comes together, has an extraordinarily loud voice. Now, the issue with Microsoft, as we all saw, is that the fan base is 100 times the size of any one game.
Yeah. Yep.
So they were forced to revert back to old ways. And to go into the second half of bringing up DRM is the negative aspects of it.
Yeah.
When it was the same, and I hate to bring this up, but it was the same thought process that I had in the military. Okay, if you bring up an exuberant amount of rules, people are going to break them.
Yeah.
They're going to. If you put too many rules down, people will find a way to break them because you put those rules down. It's extraordinarily simple psychology. The more restraints you put on somebody, the harder they'll fight back until they can't fight back anymore. And in the case of gaming, they'll just stop playing your game. You know what I mean? It'll be too much trouble to download it illegally, so they'll just say, screw this shit, and go away.
Yeah. I can guarantee you, if Microsoft would have kept their plan, you already saw this with SimCity. If Microsoft would have kept their plan, people would figure out a way around it, and they did with SimCity. Yeah. It's surprisingly fast. It's like, it doesn't really matter what they did. And basically what their Xbox One plan has become is just like an upgraded version of 360 with more features and everything, which isn't entirely a bad thing, but just
it wasn't what they hyped it up to be.
It wasn't what they had.
The monarchy that is the gaming division of Microsoft, the Xbox division of Microsoft. DRM, as far as a lot of fans are concerned, is still up in the air. As to whether or not it's going to be implemented later on.
Yeah.
But one of the downsides for DRM, right along with what I was saying before, if you put a restriction on something, too many restrictions, somebody's going to go for it. Always on is a horrible concept. Steam has gotten as big as it is because it has a one-time requirement. If you want to play the game, download it and immediately start it. You've already downloaded it, so obviously you have an internet connection.
Yeah.
Start it real quick, let it get to the main menu of the game, exit out of it properly, you change it to offline mode, and you can play the game without being online. Yeah, so, just going over a couple of positives, a couple of negatives, just something for you guys to talk about in the comments if you so choose. So that's going to be it for us. Make sure you pay attention to the uploads next week. And I think Jordan's got a clips video that he's been working on. What game are you going to be pushing out next week?
I think it's going to be like middle of this week, and I think it's going to be Killing Floor.
I was first time playing with Luke and I, actually. Yeah. And just so you guys know, we're not trying to seclude any one person or another. It's a little difficult to get everybody playing in one group, so we're trying to...
It's just convenience based, not bias or anything like that. So.
Yeah, pretty much. Whoever can record and play at any point in time is usually who we record and play. So with that, Jordan, do you have any last words?
Nothing really. Just make sure, if you guys, obviously, like we said before, if you guys have an opinion on this particular issue, DRM, that we talked about today, make sure to enter into the conversation down below in the comments section. And
please do. Yeah, bring your friends, too.
Bring your friends. Bring your family. Bring all of them. All right.
Bring them to my door. All right, guys. Well, that's it for Force Fable. Thanks for stopping by, and we will see you next week.